My name is Matthew. I'm with SFMTA with the transit, or better known as the MUNI side of the house, and I have my colleagues here tonight. I'll be happy to answer any questions about the 25 line or any general service questions once everybody finishes introducing themselves, and I'll be back on the corner right here.
My name is Adam Smith. I also work with the SFMTA, but I work on the planning side, so we work on the future development of Treasure Island, making sure that we have streets that are safe and walkable and work for everyone in the community. So if you guys have any questions about the future development, about transportation or transit and future development, then I'm happy to field those.
I'm Kristen Michael. I'm on Adam's team.
Okay, all right, give them all a round of applause. So now we're gonna go to the questions and comments part of it. As Courtney said, if you could try to keep your question or comment to as brief as possible. We don't want to limit you too much, but we want to make sure we get to as many people and get questions answered as we can. And one thing that's just helpful for me to know, how many people in here are residents? Treasure Island, okay, there we go, okay. And how many people work on Treasure Island? Okay, good. Good number. What other category, Mike? How many people just love Treasure Island? That's everybody. How many business owners are here? How many business owners? That's a good one. Okay, good. How many people work in a nonprofit on the island? Okay, that's a good number. Cool. All right, we got everybody. So we should have a full range of questions and comments. I should say that as we open it up, comments are okay too. If you just want to say, Supervisor, I want you to know this. This is important. Do something about it. That's okay. You don't have to have a question. So what I'm going to do, I saw one hand already shoot up right here, is probably what I actually was going to do is give a little love to the people who are standing and take questions in the back first, and then we can go from there. If you want to address your question directly to one of the people, we have MTA, Department of Emergency Management, TIDA, PUC, and the Transportation Authority. You can also do that. Otherwise, I'll do my best with it and then potentially kick it over if it's relevant. So let's start back there to the people who are in the back there, and then we can move around here, and then we'll take people who are sitting. Yes.
Hi, my name is Rose. I'm a resident, and I have 2 children. I've been living out here going on 10 years. So since June 2009. The bus has been garbage, and there are times where my children are consistently late to school because the bus doesn't come, or they get home when they should get home in an hour. They'll get home in 2 hours because the bus doesn't come. And it's understandable that it happens, but why does it happen so frequently? I know people that have actually lost their jobs because they were consistently late because the bus doesn't show up on time. And then when it shows up, it's like 2 buses back to back, sometimes 3 buses back to back. So I would like to know what's the plan for that?
Yeah.
Because I know me personally, I'll call and complain.
Yeah. For anybody who's had similar experiences, will you raise your hand so we know the scale? Okay.
Oh.
So
wow.
This is obviously completely unacceptable. It's unacceptable in general to have these kind of issues with public transportation, but for Treasure Island, it's everything, right? This for people is often the one way that they can get on or off the island, and if you don't have it, then you can be late to school or work. I've been in conversations with MTA about this, about making sure that it's absolutely the last place that service is ever cut, or when somebody doesn't show up to work, that it's the last possible one that doesn't come through, or that we have enough backup services and get funding for that. So I'm committed to working on this. Does somebody from MTA have the courage? You're not the one, you know. What can we do together to address this? There's a whole room full of people who say they need this bus, and
because I lived near the Trans Bay
yeah.
for the last few years, but before that I lived in Russian Hill all my life, so I did grow up in San Francisco, and just like you know, sorry, just like you know, I feel your pain. Believe it or not, I've been riding MUNI since I was a kid. I've waited an hour for a bus before as a kid, because I don't want to walk up 4 steep hills. That's just me. But going to the city, I mean, MUNI service has been pretty challenging when I was growing up, but over the last 10, 15 years with emerging technology like NextBus, 311 cell phone, you could complain right away if your bus doesn't show up.
Rarely works.
Yeah.
Next bus is always down.
I can't speak for that.
Try Quickie,
Yeah.
try Quickie.
But
Seriously.
one thing I will say, from what I've observed in downtown, traffic to the Bay Bridge has also gotten bad. I'm not sure if you're aware, but sometimes traffic leading onto the Bay Bridge backs up all the way to the north side of Market Street. Our buses, when they come off the Bay Bridge, they gotta fight that traffic to get onto the surface to drop you off at Trans Bay Terminal. And then once they get there, I mean, drivers could be on time, they could be late, and then the operators, they have to, they may have to use the restroom, and we don't want them to hold their bladder and then drive another hour with no restroom break. If they have to go, we want them to go, so that way the driver doesn't have an accident on board. I mean, I apologize that, the service isn't what it can be or should be, but I think some things, we're hearing is that, we know service is unreliable. There's things that we can do. We could monitor the service and have our management center try to adjust the service when possible. We also currently have an operator shortage. But, over the years, we've also done some crazier things. We've taken a bus off the 38 once and threw it on the 108. I'm not sure you ever seen the 60-foot long bus. They came off the island once because there was no bus for you because it was stuck somewhere or had an accident, but we didn't want to leave people behind. Other times, situation beyond the control. I mean, I think there was some SFPD activity where there was a shelter in place, so our buses couldn't even come to the island. They had to remain in the city, so people couldn't get home, and people living here couldn't get in the city because we just couldn't get the buses onto the island safely because of those events. But what I do encourage you to do, I mean, it's probably a broken record, but to know 311 every time there's an issue. I mean, it's better to let us know. We see it, but the members of the public just needs to keep calling us with documents. If there's like a well-documented complaint that the bus is always late for whatever reason, we could research it. One thing we may want to do is look at other opportunities to improve the service. I mean, things that are more challenging that we might need support on is probably ask for a bus lane on the Bay Bridge, so that way the buses don't have to sit in traffic behind cars. But that's not something I can initiate. It's something that the members of the public have to ask for.
So where was the person who asked the question? Wait, she leave? She's like, I'm out of here and catch the bus. No, I just want to respond to that in the sense that so some of it is what I can do as well. I've already spoken to the MTA director Ed Reskin about the bus line on Treasure Island at 25, and I asked him what he can do to address this and make sure and told them that I'm hearing this regularly. There's some particular funds that I've asked them to apply for that could get additional service and try to protect and enhance the bus line a bit more. So there's more that I will do to advocate to make sure that this is very high on the radar of the MTA and that potentially we're getting some more funding to get additional buses and make sure that they have additional backup when there's any kind of reason for delay and such. I'm going to call a little audible. If there's a particular question about this issue, I saw your hand. So let's.
Yeah.
And if it's sort of been said before, then but yeah.
How many complaints does it take for you to put extra resources to make that a case?
I don't think there's an exact number. It just has to show that there's people are calling.
Like how many?
I can't tell you. I mean, I think there's communities where they've gone to our board and gave them an earful, and sometimes that may take it. I mean, my role is just to do what I'm told to do. Sometimes.
You showed up. We appreciate
I showed
that.
up.
But take this message back.
I mean, just so you know, the 25 line, like 10, 12 years ago, at the behest of TIDA, we extended the 25 line, which was then known as the one-way Treasure Island, down to the Safeway by the ballpark. I don't know if anybody remembers that. We did that. We tried it. Unfortunately, I don't think the ridership ever panned out, which is why it was cut back to Trans Bay. But we continually looked at other opportunities. But sometimes it's how people engage, I guess.
Okay. Other just quick, sorry, we'll do this way, is like you get the hot seat for a brief amount of time and then we'll
Can I
switch
use
it up.
somebody else?
Yes. Yeah, if anybody from your squad wants to back
So
it
this
up.
is a quick one. First of all, to build on what Matt said, I mean, I understand MUNI is tough all over the city. This is the one and only place where the bus is our only recourse. We cannot start walking. We cannot take a bicycle. Most of us don't have money to take Ubers if we don't know when the bus is coming. This is the only way for the people who live here to get on and off the island. And so second of all, like my main issue is predictability. It's not like, oh, well, there's a police incident today. We're talking a few times a week that this happens, and so by predictability, I mean, if I'm on the island and I'm at home, and I see on the little next bus tracker, oh, there's a bus coming, be here in roughly 10 minutes, okay, I can deal with that. It's gonna be here in 10 minutes. When I'm sitting at Trans Bay Terminal waiting for a bus and I see one that's parked, 100 feet down the road, and we don't know when it's gonna come. It's supposed to come at 5 o'clock, it's supposed to come at 5:15, it's supposed to come at 5:30. When none of those buses come, 3 in a row, and now there's 75 people waiting at the bus stop, and we don't know when it's gonna come. If I go to Pete's real quick and get a coffee, is it gonna come and go? We don't know, because it's parked right there, it could just be off in a second.
I'm noting it down.
Yeah.
So
I have no
predictability.
So it sounds like one of the big challenges is coming back, the bus. Because you can't track it in the same way?
Yeah, because it's just sitting there.
It's sitting there, got
It
it.
could go at any moment.
Yeah, and from the Trans Bay, you can't
So
track
it's
it.
supposed to come in 10 minutes
And then it cancels.
15
Yeah,
minutes, and
that's-
it cancels again.
Other bus-related things? Yes.
Hi, my name is Bina, and it's directly with the MUNI buses and Caltrains. We have a problem now that the big rigs are coming into the island and they get stuck on the off-ramp. And it happens way too frequent. Then the buses cannot come in. People cannot get into the island. Traffic in San Francisco becomes a nightmare. So we either have to let these big rigs know that they can only come to the island through the east Bay Bridge bound, or not send those big rigs to the island during traffic time, because it's crazy.